Kicking off our first Legacy sequel from 2013, this is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. I mean, this is a mid pick. I don't really like this one. This is my number 6.
8.
Whoa, you really don't like this one.
I don't like this movie.
I mean, okay, I'm gonna say right now, we've been pretty close on a lot of these. We went to get something to eat. We were commenting, we're like, this is the closest we've ever been on rankings. Even though I have it at 6, it's like the bottom 3 for me. Even the we got 9, 8, 7. So like even 6, it's like, it's not great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not great. You hate it more than I hate it. I guess we'll get to why that is. Of prominent note, it's the first time in the series they finally dropped the. It's just Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yep.
Or, as it's most commonly seen, just Texas Chainsaw, which is fucking weird. That's a terrible title.
Yeah, the first time I found this movie on like a streaming service, I thought it was like a ripoff of the franchise.
Yeah, because it's just like Texas Chainsaw. It's like, they legally couldn't use the word massacre or whatever. But it's only because when you take out the 3D, it sounds weird. Texas Chainsaw 3D, it's like, okay, I kind of get it. But, whatever. It's a name. Of interesting trivia, Mark, I'm shocked you have it so low. This came out the same year as one of your favorite horror films, Curse of Chucky, 2013. It's got to be just as good, right?
That's how it works, right?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Same year. They were working together. They were both those production companies were talking to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shared ideas.
Yeah. No, they did not.
No. They are similar in year only. So this was, of course, a 3D film. It was trying to cash in on that wave of 3D films that came after like Avatar made them popular again. I didn't watch the 3D version. I know you didn't watch the 3D version. I don't know how you would watch the 3D version now, because like it is the Blu-ray that I had has a Blu-ray 3D actual proper one. It's not the type where you wear like the red and blue glasses. You have to use the proper 3D glasses. You also have to have a proper 3D television, which they no longer produce.
Right.
So I almost wish it was the kind where you just use the shitty blue and red glasses, because at least it's still usable then. But same thing with, I've never seen Friday the 13th 3D in 3D.
No.
Yeah, me neither.
No, I wish that I had the chance, but I wish that I could have seen it in the theater.
That'd be the true experience. Okay, enough waffling. Let's get to the plot. It starts with a cool opening credit sequence showing clips and footage from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yep. Which, all right, again, you're doing credit sequence. I see you, credit sequence. You're doing something. Cut to a police cruiser speeding down the road, and it passes the truck at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, the Black Maria, and it's like, huh? And like, at first I'm like, no. And it keeps going down the road, and then it pulls into the driveway of the Sawyer's residence, and it's like, what? What is happening? Because I didn't know when I've never seen this. I didn't know when this took place. This is about to get even more wild. So the officer that shows up takes out a shotgun, and he calls out for Drayton and the Sawyers to send out Leatherface, aka Jed, which is what they call him in this film. Drayton, who originally was played by Jim Sydow, who unfortunately had passed away by this point, has been recast by. Did you catch this?
It was the same guy that played
Chop Top. It's
right?
Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
So that's weird. So Bill Moseley is playing Drayton, and like, okay, sure, we like Bill Moseley. I like Bill Moseley. It's just it's just kind of a waste of him because he's not really acting like the cook. Like, he's not acting like Jim Sydow. He's acting just kind of like straight man. It's like, okay. And then as he's like, so he's in this room where the window is, and he's yelling out at the cop and they're negotiating, and like it pans back, and it's like, there's like 10 Sawyers in this room. And it's like, where the fuck did all these people come from? This sequence we're seeing is a direct sequel to the aftermath of part 1. It's like Sally has sped off, and now the cops are showing up to the residence. Seemingly Sally got to police and called in help or whatever, right? So the aftermath is happening right now. We're seeing this. This was never filmed.
It might not have been 20 minutes later, but it's not 20 years later.
No. This is the same day as the interpretation I got, because the truck's still there. The Black Maria was still sitting there. But yeah, we get all these Sawyers, and it's like, who the fuck are these people?
Who are all you people?
Right. Who are you? Because this is a sequel to 1, right? Where the fuck were they during 1? This seemingly took place not long after that dinner sequence took place. How many people were in that sequence? How many family members? Let's count them. Drayton, the cook, the grandpa, Nubbins, who's now dead, splattered on the road, and Leatherface.
Yep.
That's it. But like, there's all these people in the room, and they're all apparently part of the Sawyer clan. I'm like, okay, sure, maybe they called them all in. I don't know. Weird decision. One of them is played by
Gunnar Hansen.
The
original Leatherface.
Gunnar Hansen in his final film role. He died minutes after he finished shooting, off camera, just collapsed, and that was it. That's how that went.
Turned into a Force ghost.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So then they have this like quick discussion, and they're debating. They're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" It's like, "Well, the cops got us dead to rights." And then Gunnar Hansen's like, "Drayton, just give up the boy. He's slow. He's no good to us anyways. Like, just give him up." And it's like, and then Drayton's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll give up Leatherface." And it's like that's the way to save all of our asses. But it's like, Gunnar Hansen, who the fuck are you? Yeah. Like, who are you supposed to be? I don't know you as a Sawyer character. Why is Drayton listening to you?
Yeah.
Like, why do you have so much weight in this scene? Okay, sure, whatever. Then what's his face? Drayton goes, I keep wanting to say Chop Top. Drayton goes into the other room, and we see Leatherface in this outfit. He's in the part 1 Pretty Woman outfit, and he's like cowering in the corner, like afraid of being sent to the police. And it's like, they're going this far with it?
Yep.
This is ballsy. This is Halloween Kills. We shot an entire sequence that takes place right moments after the original. Shit you never saw. We are bringing in original actors. We're bringing in the elements that are directly from... We recast Dr. Loomis, and we're bringing in Loomis. We have the balls to do that. It's that level.
Yeah,
that's a ballsy fucking move. Did that shock you when you were watching it?
It shocked me that they tried it, because they didn't succeed.
Oh no! We're gonna get to it. It's a terrible decision. All attempts to connect this and make this a legacy sequel fail. So this directly connects to Texas Chainsaw 1.
Yep.
And it ignores everything else. So this is again the first of our legacy sequels that are going to be direct connection to the original. Fuck all the other ones, according to this film. What happens next? Oh yeah, okay. So they're like, all right, we're gonna send Jet out. Like, hold your horses. We're sending them out right now, okay? And then out of nowhere, a lynch mob rolls up, and they're just like, all right, they're in there, boys. Like, let's time to deliver some justice. And the sheriff tries and fails to maintain order, and like instantly chaos erupts. The two sides just start shooting at each other, like within minutes of them arriving, maybe even within seconds. And then someone throws like a Molotov cocktail into the Sawyer house, and the house just starts catching on fire, and then it burns down.
Digital fire. Yep.
Not a great effect, yeah. And then it burns down and seemingly killing almost all of the Sawyers in the household. And I like so like after all that happens, and like all the Sawyers have now been like lynched by this mob, the sheriff's just like, oh, he turns to like the head of the lynch mob. I think his name is Bert Hartman, I think. We'll get to it, but I believe he
comes back.
I believe it's Bert, and he's like, "You asshole!"
Hell yeah! So you going by? This is on you, Bert. Not for now, Sheriff. Can't get around a good book.
But it's like, that's a pretty mild response to just vigilante executing people. It's like, shouldn't they all be arrested now?
Right,
Like, shouldn't you all be going to jail? It's like, okay, you couldn't maintain order. Call for backup.
Yep.
Why aren't you calling in, like, the state troopers? Like, shouldn't these men all be behind bars?
Well, remember, they only have one police officer in all of...
Up. Well, actually, there is one other cop, like, in that scene. He also does nothing. He's just as, like, useless. In the aftermath, the house is burned to the ground. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so then there's this shot of, there's this, one of the Sawyer women who knows who this fucking is. She's, like, holding a baby, and she's, like, off to the side. And this is, like, while they're going through the rubble of the house, and they're, like, I don't know, picking through it. I guess looking for survivors so that they can make them not survivors. Right. I don't know.
Yep.
And one of the lynch mob guys finds this woman and she's like dying holding a baby. And then he like, no one's around. And he just like snatches her baby and then hoofs her in the fucking face.
Yeah. I got her. Everything's okay.
The kick he does to her face is so needlessly aggressive. Do you remember this? He's just like, boom!
Especially since you probably didn't need to do anything.
Right.
She was probably just going to die.
Right, yeah. But he steals her baby.
Yep.
We then get this group photo of the mob being like, yeah, we did it. Look at us. And there's like a cop in the photo. It's like, why is that cop in that photo? Like, so it implies the police department condoned the actions of this mob, right? We then get our opening title card, which is, I don't know if you caught this. The title card for the film is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Yep. Did it include the
What the
massacre
fuck?
word?
Yes,
'Cause
and
we
the
talked about this, right?
Right,
Like,
but I don't know if you caught. So
Yeah.
the name of the movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw, aka Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yep.
Don't believe me? Look it up.
Yep.
But in the film, the title card says The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Yep.
What is happening?
And you and I had a debate. We're like, because I thought, I'm like, I swear I saw this. And
Now
you're like,
you know where you saw it. Yeah. You weren't, Mark was right.
But I wasn't.
But you also weren't right.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's stupid. Cut to a worker in the deli department of a grocery store, introduced to our new main protagonist, Heather.
Modern time jump now.
Sorry,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
We are now in modern time. So we're now in whatever year this movie is supposed to take place in, I guess 2013. This film was filmed in 2013. Heather is played by one of my celebrity crushes, Alexandria Daddario. Do you know who that is?
I do. I think everyone knows who she is.
Oh, so she's one of your crushes too, eh, buddy?
I mean, who doesn't know who she is?
Daddario is,
Yeah.
oh, she's such a smoke show. I had...
True Detective.
That's right, buddy.
Yeah.
That's right. We all know the scene. Let's cut to it right now.
No, we're not doing
This
that.
has
become a different show.
Right, yeah, we're not cutting to that. This isn't Mr. Skins, the podcast. Yeah. Daddario, I'd never seen the next three movies we're about to talk about. I'd never seen any of them.
No.
I had no idea Alexandria
No.
Daddario was in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film.
No.
I also, like, it doesn't quite look like her quite yet. She's got, like, black hair. Like, it's not her normal look. She's usually more like a brunette. She's kind of a little gothy, a little punky in this movie. She's also very young in this movie. I think she's supposed to be playing, like, I want to say, like, early 20s type age range. We'll get to the age issue later on. We're also introduced to her equally hot friend, Nikki, who's played by Tanya Raymond.
Yep.
Another smoke show in this movie.
Again, realistic people.
This is what humans look like.
Right.
Everyone's a perfect 10, buddy.
Yep.
They're all perfect 10s. Cut to Heather's place where she's doing art with bones.
Yeah, I think the word art is questionable.
Oh, please.
It's weird. It's weird.
I wonder why she'd be doing that.
Yep.
What a strange thing for her to be doing. Later, Heather is getting busy with her boyfriend where he notes that she has this strange birthmark on her tit. I wonder if that's going to come up again. maybe. Or was it just an excuse to show her
Just to
tits?
show something.
Now, before you get too excited, folks, she doesn't actually go topless. It's just showing the top. She's got like a bra on, all right? Relax, perverts. All right, back to the plot. A registered letter shows up at Heather's apartment when he
I'm like, you're one of those perverts.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
How quickly we are to cast the stone there.
Ew.
True Detective,
Yeah.
man. You're like, yeah, I know her work from True Detective. Oh, you mean the one where she's all naked? and
Her performances were incredible.
you
She's
just
a
watched
great
that
actor.
scene for the articles, did you? So, a registered letter shows up informing Heather that her grandmother has died, and she's like, "What? All my grandparents are already dead.
Didn't know I had
What?
another.
What grandmother's this?" So we got to a scene where she confronts her parents, who are revealed to be the baby-stealing couple from the opening. So Heather is in fact the child of one of the Sawyers, and her parents in the scene are just like complete white trash. It's so over the top. It reminds me of the Rob Zombie shit with like all the scenes with that chaotic family where it's just too much.
I just wanted to have a child.
Enough.
I wanted to have a
Enough.
child so
Enough,
bad, and I
Arlene.
couldn't.
Enough.
Why couldn't you tell me?
Tell you what, your mother has a defective uterus. She wanted a kid. End of story.
So what? We're not good enough for you now.
I didn't say that. I just want to know where I came from and who I came from.
Well, we're the ones that raised you, and you were damn lucky, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they had to. They couldn't make her parents, her foster parents, as we learn, seem too.
Well, they're not the good guys.
Yeah,
they stole a baby.
Yeah,
So like you kind of can't make them too good,
but if they were great stand-up foster parents, she just wouldn't go, right? So that we have to have these people be like.
Yeah, see, I disagree. I
Yeah.
disagree. There's a better way of writing this.
There-
and the
yeah.
better way of writing this is just have her be like, have them be encouraging and be like, yeah, it's time you got to know your lineage or something like that, or just write a better movie. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like her foster parents obviously know where
she
came from, so they don't want her to go.
Yeah.
But you're right. They don't have to make them dirty scum people.
Here, let me pitch you another idea. How about this? How about they don't cut the stupid scene where he steals a baby, and how about the cops recover the baby? She goes into foster care. She then gets a loving family who are like, we don't know much. We know you came from tragedy, though. They didn't tell us all the details.
Yep.
But, if this is what you need, go ahead and we'll support you. Better. Oh,
Nah.
wow. Takes 2 seconds. Yeah. Wow. The Slash Cinema writing desk, as usual, pumping out nothing
Yes.
but great ideas, folks. So they're like, I don't know, they're being assholes, and she's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go see where I came from. And her mom tries to warn her. Mom's like, nothing good is in Newt, Texas.
Yeah.
There's nothing good there. Don't go to Newt, Texas, which, okay, so now we're defining the town that the first movie took place in, because before it's just like, it's South Texas. We
Yeah.
had no idea. It was very ambiguous. Almost none of the entries specify a town. This is one of
And
the first times.
They really can't.
Right.
Right. So I'm surprised. I think I looked
I thought
it
it
up.
was odd too, where they were
Yeah.
like Newt, Texas, and it's like,
Oh.
okay, sure, but I don't think that's where they even filmed the original or
No.
anything. I think they just chose it for. They are retconning, like they're deciding for Toby
Yeah.
Hooper. Now this is where you meant to put it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Heather, Ryan, Nikki, and her boyfriend all decide to make it a fun road trip and take off in a van. We've seen this formula before. They're driving off to find out where she came from and her heritage, and learn about her dead grandmother. They stop and get gas and accidentally hit a hot hitchhiker guy. Yeah. Oh man, all the beats, buddy, all the beats. Okay, so we've got a group of young hot people, the van, and now we have a fucking hitchhiker as well. Come on, like. This is supposed to be a legacy sequel.
Yeah, this isn't a remake.
Right.
Right.
This isn't the 2003 film. You have opportunity to do something different. Like, this one's called 2, but it It's not the same formula.
They don't do the same thing that
Right.
the first one
They don't
already
just
did.
do the thing again. They do its own thing. Okay. And of course, the hitchhiker's like, "Oh, you're headed there. I'm headed in that exact same direction." He doesn't actually talk like that, but I'm headed in that same direction. And they're like, "Oh, well, fuck me sideways. Hop in, stranger." And then they get on their road trip and continue on down on their trip. And it's not long before they arrive in Newt, Texas, and roll up on the address provided, which turns out to be like this huge mansion. So like they roll up in like this giant mansion. It's like, okay, where are we going with this film? I'm following you, but what's going on here? And literally the exact moment they drive up, a lawyer then drives up. It's like, was he just waiting off in the bushes? Like, how did he time that? Because you know why? Because otherwise the movie pace would be fucked. They wouldn't be able to do this next scene. So he pulls up and he reveals to Heather, "Oh, your grandmother, she didn't have any other heirs, and she was a very wealthy lady, you know, and she left you her entire estate, including her mansion. And here's this giant set of keys, including this oddly huge, comical fucking skeleton key.
Horror key.
Yeah, like
basically.
it's like, what does that
Yeah,
unlock?" And he's also like, "Here's a letter from your grandmother. Please read it." And it explains everything. And she's like, "Okay." So the group make their way inside. They find a pool table and a record player, and they immediately just like start partying and make themselves at home. They're just being like, you know, dumb young people being like, "Woo, party!" And then not long after, they're like, "Well, if we're gonna have a party, gotta go get some supplies." So they go out and do like a supply run. And the hitchhiker, whose name apparently was Carl, hangs back and he's like, "Here, I'll clean up for later. You guys go ahead." I'll give them credit on this. He could have been a Sawyer family member, because they all are for the most part. They didn't do that. Thank Christ.
Yep.
He has nothing to do with this movie. He's just coincidence. But then why even have him there? Just so that we'd be like, "Oh, he's got to be evil." And he is evil.
He kind of is.
He is
Yeah.
evil, but not in the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
So as soon as they leave, he just starts like ransacking the house and like starts looting it. And then he makes his way downstairs where he finds a hidden door leading to a downstairs basement area with another giant door. It's like a pseudo living area downstairs, but it's kind of like run down. But then there's like this big weird metal door and he can't open it up. But he's like, "Oh, I know. There's that giant skeleton key. That's what that's for." Big fucking door needs a big fucking key, right, Mark? Those keys exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the type that are made out of chocolate and you eat them at Easter?
right.
It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? It's like a key to the city or something. It's just so needlessly large. It looks like a prop from like...
Could like use your hands to
Right,
to-
like you know, like in escape rooms where they have
That's
to make
right.
the props very large and obvious. That's what it seems like. Yeah. So he opens the door and comes face to face with Leatherface, of course, who caves his head in with a hammer. We've seen this shot.
Yep.
It's always the hammer blow is like the first kill behind the metal door. We're not trying much new, I guess, for this legacy sequel, eh? Meanwhile, while shopping in town, Heather runs into Mayor Bert Hartman, and it is Bert. She reveals she inherited the old Carson estate, and he immediately tries to buy it off her. Who the fuck are the Carsons? I don't know. It's not Sawyer. It's not Hewitt. The Carsons. That's interesting. The group return back to the mansion to find the place ransacked, but try to make the best out of it and start partying. Then later, Heather stumbles upon an old woman's corpse in one of the bedrooms. Was that her mother? Was that the grandmother?
Yeah. That was the implication, that she died there and they never took her out. Like they just left her.
But then why wouldn't the lawyer have taken care of that? That's such a weird plot hole.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd.
Yeah.
Why even have that?
I mean, I think the
It's
implication is that
pointless.
he's completely in on this.
No, I get the lawyer is friends with her. But again, why would the lawyer, who clearly had a thing for Verna, that's the woman's name, why would he not have taken her corpse out if they were friends? It's just bizarre. And it also, because the thing is, it makes you go, as an audience, you go, "Oh no, she's in danger." But here's the thing. like seconds later, she runs into Leatherface in the kitchen, who's just like casually cutting up fingers in the sink. So you didn't even need that woman's corpse. So what was the point of that woman's corpse?
The real threat's coming.
Right. You know what? You had this at 8. I'm starting. I had this at 6. But just the next one that I'm about to say offends me so much. Okay. So then she runs into Leatherface and he attacks her and she escapes and he chases her through the property. She then hides in a casket that's just convenient. It's a conveniently like open grave. Why is there an open grave with a casket there? Was that for Verna? But then why wasn't Verna?
Why is she posed upstairs?
Right, exactly. So who set that up?
Yeah.
You know why? Because otherwise we don't have a scene.
Yeah.
Convenience, buddy. Convenience. You know, you rail about this in the Child's Play movies. This film, we're going to get to it. There are so many convenient moments in this fucking movie. Then, what did I get here? Oh, right. Okay. There's an editing mistake in the film.
Oh, just one?
I don't know if you caught this. No, but this one's like whoa, that's a big fuck up.
Egregious.
So, I have a theory of how this happened. So, is it Heather? Is that her name? Heather, yeah. So Heather, she sees the open casket, and she jumps to get into the casket and tries to get into it and pull the door closed. If you look closely, and I will zoom in on this for the folks, if you look closely, you can see a jump cut that is not intentional, where just as she's getting into the casket, it jump cuts, and then she's like all the way into the casket. Now, what I think happened is she fucked up getting into the casket on that take.
Yep.
Something was off, but for whatever reason, they didn't have a good take of her doing the initial getting into the casket, but they had an okay take of her closing the casket door. So they just tried to marry the two shots.
Right.
Once you see it, you'll never unsee it because you just watch it. It just goes like, boop.
It's like a
It
scene
blinks for a second.
a scene that should flow nice and clean.
Just
has like this cut in the middle.
It's weird. Yeah. It's odd. She hides. Okay. Yeah. So she's hiding in the casket. Leatherface attacks her. Leatherface then spots her boyfriend Ryan and her friend Nikki, who were getting busy in the barn, both fucking over their friend Heather.
That's right.
And they distract Leatherface, and Leatherface starts chasing them instead. Heather then gets out of the casket and grabs the van and rolls up, and they all hop in. The three of them just peel out of there. And just as they're about to get away, Leatherface slashes their tire and they crash, killing Ryan. Which I was surprised they went with for an easy kill for him, because he's a piece of shit. I feel like he should have got it a little worse. He just kind of dies in the crash, and it's like, okay, fine.
And you just don't usually see that. Like, you don't miss the opportunity to do something creative.
Even in Texas Chainsaw, the beginning, it's like, not in a van, in an open-topped Jeep, they all miraculously survived, even though, like, it was a heinous rollover, but it's like, nah, they walked away from that shit.
Nosebleed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the girl in that one, I think it was, whatever her name was, Chrissy, she got, like, thrown into the field. No broken bones, no nothing. Like, a couple cuts.
Yep.
Yeah, realism, buddy. Heather, once again, is chased by Leatherface, and she runs for, like, 5 minutes before she runs into the same carnival from Child's Play 3 that is just conveniently a little jaunt away. How much did you hate this? Where you must have rolled your eyes.
At this point, I was already pretty certain what my decision was going to be on this movie.
So,
yeah.
it's like they're in the middle of nowhere along this big, long grass like area, right? Like forest area. There's like an estate. That's the mansion. They crash just outside that. She runs for like 5 minutes, and there's like this big carnival, and it's like, so is in town only 5 minutes away?
So,
like,
filmmakers, don't put carnivals in your movies. Like, just don't.
I didn't mind it in Child's Play. Sometimes put carnivals.
Sometimes,
if you're gonna do something with them. So then chaos erupts at the carnival as Leatherface is like chasing Heather, but like attendees are confused because they don't know if it's like an attraction or not. They're kind of like, is this like supposed to be a thing?
Yeah.
Like what are we looking at here? Like it's hard to tell. A cop who's at the carnival intervenes and saves Heather, and Heather goes back to the police station where she's introduced to Sheriff Hooper. Boom, 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 boom. as in Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck you. That's so, it's a little too on the nose. It's like, it would have been fun if it was like, he's at 115 Hooper Way. I don't know. It's a more subtle way of doing it. Just
Hey, of all the
using-
things in this movie that
That's the
offended
least.
me, this
Yeah.
is the least.
That's
So I
the-
don't-
yeah, okay. And Sheriff Hooper is actually the same. It's the cop from the beginning of the film who was like trying to stop the lynch mob. It was that guy. And then the guy who was the head of the lynch mob, Bert, became the mayor of the town. Heather then, so she's at the police station, and then Heather learns the entire brutal history of the Sawyer family, the Soil family. That's what it is in this fucking movie, because this movie shits the bed hard. The Sawyer family, because they conveniently just like leave a police evidence box that has like the entire history of everything that happened in part 1.
Convenient.
It's all there. So she goes through it, learns it all. And what follows is Heather trying to unravel her family's dark past while Leatherface runs around causing chaos, and the Hartmans are eager to end the Sawyer bloodline once and for all. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, this is a bad movie.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Before we get into it, did you catch because they stand out quite a bit. Did you catch the 3D moments? Like the moments where we're like,
Yeah.
okay, this was meant to be in 3D, because again, we don't watch it in 3D, but you're like, that's it. Right. Yeah.
A
Well,
lot
it's
of
not
that.
like the thing I like about Friday Part 3 is like, it's so blatant that movie becomes a comedy at
Right.
moments. This, I think this movie actually would have benefited from being in 3D, because at least you would have got some sort of exploitation spectacle out of it.
Yep. There was like a scene, I think, where he throws a chainsaw.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I got when she's in the coffin, the chainsaw comes through the top of the coffin
Yep.
right at the screen. He throws the chainsaw, and it very much so comes right at the fucking screen. It probably killed that camera operator. I'm going to say he sacrificed himself for that shot. They could have just left the camera there, but they're like, nope, someone's got to push the record button, buddy. Someone has to make sure it's in focus. Yeah, and then there's also the shot where like at the end of the movie, Heather's tied up, and then like Leatherface, like he just lifts the chainsaw up and goes straight slowly at the camera. It's like, I only caught a couple, but they're there. They're there. They're not egregious, but they're also not kind of funny. Again, I think I would have liked it a bit better had I actually got to watch this in 3D.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that just goes to tell you they probably relied on the cheap 3D effect more than because the story, the movie without the 3D doesn't stand up.
No.
Right,
And my my question is, just either make a fun schlocky, because like of all the horror franchises, Texas Chainsaw 3D totally can work.
Yeah.
Totally can work because of the chainsaw. Like there's a lot you can do with that. Either go just a fun schlocky entry in this series that could take place at any point, or make your legacy sequel that you're very clearly trying to make. Do one or the other. I'll let you go first. What do you like anything? Is there anything
No,
that you're like,
not
okay,
really.
let's just get into it then,
yeah.
because I got I don't have much many positives.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, this plot is so convoluted and stupid. Like the number, this should be called Texas Chainsaw Plot Hole, because none of it makes sense.
It's just a bunch of random
Yep.
shit happening.
Um,
yeah. Well, let's get into the conveniences.
Yeah.
Okay. What do I got here? Where are they? Okay. The convenient bullshit. So, there is so remember I said Heather learns about her whole backstory and like all the events of part 1 because they leave a police. She's at the station.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're just going to leave this police evidence box right beside you, then walk out of the room for an exuberant amount of time. So you have all the time in the world access to these files that you're not supposed to see. And the only reason this happens is they do this stupid body cam scene where like Bert and Sheriff Hooper are like communicating with that one officer that goes to the is it Carlton?
The house, like the
Yeah, but what was the name? Whatever. Carson goes to the Carson estate to look for Leatherface, and there's this. It drags out so much. It's like 10 minutes of like them watching his body cam footage and them talking to him, and the whole reason that they have the scene is just so that she can just be like,
Yep.
like she's all the time in the world to read through all this shit. And it's just that whole scene goes on and on and on. It's a boring bullshit ass scene. It's just for convenience. Then while she's like looking through the evidence box, she finds like the exact information she's looking for. Where it's like she brings up a thing and it says it's a report about the incident that happened with from the mob burning down the Sawyer family's house and all the Sawyers dying, and it's like Loretta Sawyer, which is her actual mother's name, and it's like child not found. How the fuck do you know that?
Right.
The Sawyers were all like inbred freaks. How do you know they wouldn't have registered their fucking children? How do you know which children belong to who? How did you know she had a child? Like, where are you getting that from? It's just such a weird detail, and it's only there so that Heather can look at it and go, "I'm that child. That's me. I'm a Sawyer." Like, fuck off. Later in the movie, Leatherface, he kills that cop that goes to the estate, and then like he's like disposing of his body, and he like walks past the cruiser, and they're talking on the radio, and he just happens to overhear on the radio that they're all meeting at this slaughterhouse, and had that not happened, he wouldn't have gone there.
Yeah.
Hey, Marvin, do you copy? We got the girl from the Carson house. Come on, Marvin, pick up. You there? Come on, Marvin. That's you, Marvin? If you can hear me, meet us out at the slaughterhouse.
Hey.
He had no reason to go there without that.
Convenience.
Yeah, I know. Then when they get to the slaughterhouse, there's like a scene where like they use Heather. I'm skipping ahead in like some of the other plot parts, but that's okay. They use Heather as like bait to try to like bring out Leatherface, right?
Yeah.
But again, he wouldn't have even known to go there hadn't he overheard on the radio. Even if their plan was like, we're going to broadcast on the radio, try to get Leatherface to hear this. It's like, you're assuming he's going to listen to that. You're assuming so much by doing that. But okay, then he finds Heather and he immediately tries to kill her, even though she's like tied up. But coincidentally, they open her shirt up, exposing her breasts. Sorry, folks. Sorry, guys, not exposing her actual breasts, just it's like side boob, but it's just enough that you can see the birthmark. And then Leatherface, because her shirt is open, sees the birthmark and is like, "Oh, I know this," because otherwise he would have just killed her.
Yeah.
I
thought it was like she got burnt. Because it was in the fire.
I thought that too.
It was like
yeah,
like her mother's necklace or something that was burnt into her.
Yeah, I thought that.
Remember, she sees the picture of her mother, and then she sees in the reflection of herself, and she's got the thing that she's wearing in the picture.
Is that what that was?
I think that's what it was.
Well, then how the fuck did Leatherface know that? How would he have
Well,
seen?
because he would recognize the necklace that his mother would have.
Sounds a little convenient.
It sounds like a convenient.
It sounds like a convenient explanation. Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? Go on to your next point. It's so much shit to talk about.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please. I love questions, Mark, especially when they come from you. They mean so much.
They're not gonna carry any sarcasm or anything. How old is Heather?
Okay, yeah.
Are we doing this now?
Plot holes.
Yep.
Plot holes, folks. We got loads of them. So this film takes place somewhere. I have this written down. She is the baby in the intro. So she's an infant in 1973. This film takes place in 2013, 40 years later. So she should be 40.
Yep.
But she's like 20.
Yep.
But that makes no sense.
And there's no indication that this takes place in the 90s or something like that.
No, it's clearly supposed to be modern. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they don't even pretend, right? I think the team behind the movie just didn't think you'd figure it out.
No, I don't think anybody just thought. I think they just pulled a.
Whatever. We
They're
don't
like,
care.
yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
We gotta have a hot chick. It can't be. No one wants to see some old bag 40-year-old woman, Mark.
Yeah.
Like, God.
Or like 45-year-old.
Yeah, nobody wants to
boyfriend.
see that shit. Yeah, no. They want like hot, young, tight Alexandria.
That's right.
Alexandria Daddario. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
that opening scene, we talked a little bit about it when you did the plot synopsis there. That is risky. When anytime you play around with
Original
the
canon.
original stuff, and you make a mess of it, you are painting your own. You're digging your own grave.
Well, you got
right?
you got to nail it.
Yeah.
You got to. So I wrote down. I respect the ballsy move of adding new footage to the ending of the original, but this is a far cry away from Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills pulls it off. This does not. And we've got returning veteran actors who are all completely wasted. We've got Gunnar Hansen, who's playing unnamed Sawyer Bearded Man.
Give him the boy. He's simple anyway. He's family.
Yep.
Who are you? I don't know. I don't give a shit. I didn't even know that was him when I watched it because I don't really know what he looks like because I know him as
You
this.
never seen
right?
him
No, like,
without his mask
right.
on, right?
Bill Moseley, who's not acting like a Bill Moseley character at all. John Dugan, who apparently was like the guy who played Grandpa in like all the movies when all he has to do is literally just sit in a chair and do nothing and go and like wear a shitty rubber
4
mask.
tons of makeup.
Yeah, apparently he was in there. Sure. And then we've got Marilyn Burns returns playing. She's not playing Sally though. She's playing Verna, who is Heather's. Did you know this?
Yeah, I knew she was in it.
Yeah, she's playing Heather's deceased grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's only in the ending when she's doing the narration. Yeah.
Which I'm fine with putting cameos in there.
Yeah, but they're a fucking waste.
Yeah, the
It's
characters
pointless.
still need to make sense. You can't just keep throwing people in just to have these people in there.
It's not fixing your bad movie.
Right. The characters still need to have a reason to be a part of it. And
Right.
yeah, they don't.
Okay, how do you feel about this brand new lore? Because this is the movie where they start a whole new lore. The Sawyers versus the Hartmans. This is all new. This is all new lore. This idea of like there was a lynch mob and they got vengeance. Justice was enacted. Again, they did vigilante justice against the evil Sawyer family that was like, ruining this town.
Yeah.
The town of Newt or whatever the fuck it was called, right? I don't know. Like, okay, here's my problem with it. Are we supposed to? This film tries, and the next one really tries. Are we actually supposed to feel sympathy
Yeah.
for cannibals?
Yeah. I raise this as a point more in the next one because they try really hard to paint Leatherface in particular as a sympathetic character. And I'm like, there's no way that's going to work. Right. I actually didn't mind the two sort of warring factions.
I don't mind that at all.
I think they could have done
The problem
something
is
with that.
Yeah, but the film takes the wrong side though.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to root for the bad guys, but they're not fun bad guys.
Right.
They eat people. That's not cool, man. Like
You're not supposed to feel sorry for them. Like, yeah, okay, they got their house burned down. Yeah, you should.
Right, you should. Right.
Every single one of you
movie
should
is
be
so
just,
fucking misguided. Right. That's exactly right. You hit the nail on the head where it's like, I kind of pity Leatherface because and often in these movies, he's portrayed as just like simple-minded and manipulated by his environment, his family, right? He just does what everybody else wants. The next entry is really going to get into that. But the rest of them, you're all just sociopathic pieces of shit.
And also, like, if this movie takes place the same day as the original, like when that opening scene, how would they even have amassed that lynch mob that would have cared enough about this family that they don't know anything about? Like they don't know.
Oh no!
I mean, I guess Sally ran to the police and has told them.
The implication they got, what I interpreted was everybody kind of always knew, because remember in the first film, I'm going to defend this, that everybody always kind of knew fucked up shit was happening there. Sally was the first person to actually get away and confirm what they all suspected.
But if that's the case, then any one of the cops could have gone over there at any point before this and like walked through.
Nope, because then we don't have a film, Mark.
Because this is America and my property. You will not step foot.
They already they did this before with Lieutenant Enright from Part 2, Dennis Hopper's character, and it worked there. It kind of works here. Like, I'm not against that idea of like vigilante action. I'm not against it. You know,
It fits the setting.
Yeah, like if you gotta be Seagal and go above the law, I'm okay with that. Yeah. That's 2 podcasts in a row where I referenced Above the Law. Above the Law is a masterpiece of modern cinema. No, it is not. It's a piece of shit. Seagal movies all suck. Whatever.
Hot take. Yeah, it's the first hot take of the evening.
Hot take. Yeah. What I don't like that they do is like I'm not against that idea of like the street justice or whatever the fuck, but the film is trying to make us be like they're the bad guys. You should root against. How isn't it awful what they did? But it's like so they show like that photo they take at the beginning of the movie where everyone's like, yeah, we did it. We stopped the evil Sawyers. The paper, the town sees them as heroes.
Yep.
So. The paper, Sally, what the fuck's her name? Heather.
Yep.
Heather, when she's at the police station going through the evidence, she reads an article and it says local heroes. Because, yeah, that's what everybody would see them as. Even today, people would probably see them as heroes for like taking out these vile pieces of shit in society, right? But then when like Heather keeps reading, so it's like she sees a thing and it's like local heroes. And then she reads the report, Hooper's report, and it's like, it describes it as like, it was a brutal massacre of the Sawyers. And it's like, she also, and so you see her and she clearly is like, oh my God, this is so wrong. Everyone sees them as heroes, but they did this awful thing. She also fucking minutes earlier read the report of the first film about what happened to Sally.
Right.
And it's like, oh, so you just forgot that? So it's like, that meant nothing to you. You read these 2 things and went, nah, they went too far.
Yep.
Yeah, they went too far.
Hey, man, blood. You know, once she realizes who she is, suddenly she has a complete about face. And
we'll get to it. Yeah, hold that. Yeah. I liked the idea of like Bert becoming the de facto like leader of the town. I liked that. Like he's become like a local legend. They made him the mayor. He was the face of the mob.
Likely as a result of this thing.
And he's kind of got like his original gang has kind of spread out through the town now. And he's kind of got his paws and little everything. Like even though he's not the sheriff, he runs the cops. They listen to him. He overrules the sheriff many times.
Sheriff, no disrespect, but I think I need to move on this.
That's not your call, officer. Marvin, this is Mayor Hartman. You got your eagle?
You know what extended clip. Just looking for a reason, sir.
Then what the hell are you waiting for? Marvin, stand down. And we believe Jed Sawyer may be alive. That he may be in that house.
Copy that, sir, but chainsaw don't make you bulletproof.
There's like a cool shot of like at the beginning, the charred chainsaw they find from the wreckage. You see it hanging in one of his friend's bars. It's like, it's very much so his town.
Yep.
This town now belongs to the Hartman family, and one of his son is one of the cops in the town. He's got his hooks in like all of this town.
Yep.
And they want to make you think he's the bad guy. And it's like, I know he does some shitty stuff. Like, they're trying so hard. Like, there's a thing where once he realizes that, like, Leatherface is around and he realizes that Heather is actually a lost Sawyer child, he's like, it's time we round up the boys. We end this. Finish what we started.
That sick fuck will be back out there tonight. We rally the boys. We torch that place to the ground. End this. Finish what we started years ago. Not this time. Not on my watch.
It's like, okay, that's maybe taking it a little too far. Okay, that's a bit much. And then he's like, all of a sudden now he wants to kill Heather. Like they kind of make him they're trying to make him evil. But it's so hard to see them as the bad guys when you've got this real sick group of people that you're dealing with, you know? And this film isn't smart enough to make gray characters. It's all black and white. It's like the Hartmans should be like more written as gray characters. Like their methods might be wrong, but their heart is in the right place.
They are ultimately trying to protect their town. And sometimes they may go above and beyond with that or blur the lines between what they should and shouldn't do, but they always have the protection of their own
Right.
at her.
We take
Yeah.
care of our own here. Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Like they didn't have to make him be scummy, but I guess the whole idea of this movie is that they want you to feel for the cannibals, right? And I don't understand why.
Yeah, and specifically, like, what did you think of the hit list? Leatherface's little hit list that he has. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He has like that photo that was like in all the papers of like the vigilante like posse, their proud moment of like killing the Sawyer clan. He has that photo in his little room in the basement. And as he's killing off people in the movie, he starts like slashing them off. Like he's some sort of avenging angel. Like,
Right.
why am I rooting for Leatherface? You're just as bad as those other pieces of shit. I don't know that I kind of want them to find you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's all misguided.
I mean, he's had 40 years to do it and he hasn't done it.
Well, that was the other thing
So-
that you want to talk about plot holes. It's like, yeah, he had all the time in the world. Why did he just start now?
Yeah. And how old is he?
Well, dude, it's because he was locked in that room for 40 years.
Yeah, that's right.
He survived off rats.
The
That's
kid
it.
never opened the door.
No one ever
so-
opened the door. Yeah, that's it. Let's talk about Heather. Because I know you want to talk about Heather. I know you want to talk about Daddario.
Yeah.
Well, because you already touched on this. So, the second she finds out, so she, at the beginning, most of the movie, she's just a regular girl. She's just like a regular girl. She comes from a piece of shit family, but she's like a normal girl that's just trying to learn about her heritage.
Loves her friends.
Right.
You know,
There's nothing, she has no bizarre or troubling characteristics whatsoever. And it's very much believable. It's like we all want to know where we come from, right? That's very relatable. The second she realizes that she is a long-lost Sawyer child, she instantly
Immediately.
snaps and becomes a sociopathic killer.
Yep.
And that's why I rolled my eyes at the whole, like, she's doing bone art at the beginning. It's like they're trying to subtly say, it's like, oh no, there's a little bit of darkness in her. It's like, oh, please, come on.
Yep. No.
So we got this cringy line. She has a few cringy lines, but so she gets the cop, Hartman's son, his name I can't remember. He's got her like locked up in the back of the cruiser, and he's like driving her to where they're gonna take her to the slaughterhouse, right? And she's like, "So you're a Hartman, huh? I'm a Sawyer."
So you're a Hartman, huh?
Yep.
I'm a Sawyer.
It's like you found out you were a Sawyer 5 minutes ago.
No, but it's also like, is that something to be proud of?
Yep. Yeah.
Like, my family ate people for generations.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't know what we're all about. As much as her twist,
her heel turn.
her
as
heel
I
turn,
made a note.
her heel turn is nonsensical.
Yep.
I also kind of love it because you don't do this. Like, they're breaking the rules of any normality. Like, this is not done.
Yep.
You don't just all of a sudden have the main character go, yeah, I'm going to join the bad guys.
Yeah. And it's not, you don't do it not because it's not edgy. It's because it doesn't make sense. Like that's
right.
It's not like they're doing something that is cool. It's like, oh man, look what we did. We had our lead character flip sides immediately right at the very end. It's like, no, you don't see that happen very often because it's stupid.
So she decides to join the Sawyer clan, and she like kills a man with a pitchfork. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's like she goes full on. She goes full tilt immediately. Kills a man in cold blood. She then helps Leatherface kill another man with the worst line in the whole film. Mark, you must have this written down. What is it?
I don't.
When she tosses the chainsaw to Leatherface.
Do your thing, cuz.
Oh, look who's back.
That's right. Do your thing, cuz.
Do your thing, cuz.
Yeah.
Oh. And apparently Daddario didn't want to say the line. She like protested. She was like, this is really bad. And they were like, no, it'll be funny. It'll be funny. It's not funny.
No.
It's bad. It's cringe.
Alexandria, you were right.
Yeah. Then they, like, the end of this movie is insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, you don't do what happens next doesn't happen. She joins up with Leatherface, helps Leatherface kill most of the Hartmans and a bunch of other people, and then talk about convenience. The sheriff shows up, and he sees all of this, and now, in the most hypocritical move ever, he allowed people to go above the law at the beginning of the film. Now, 40 years later, he's going to do it once again because he's like, this will balance the scales. And he's like, clean this mess up. And then just walks away.
Yep.
So conveniently, they get away with murdering all these people. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks for this film. Yeah. And then we get like, there's a shot of Leatherface walking home with Heather. And like, she legit is now like his family member. Apparently that's his cousin or her cousin. Yep. And there's like a little tender moment between like Heather and Jed, I think his name is. And they're like cleaning each other up like after the shit they just went through. And it's like, where are you going with this? Are you out of your mind, filmmakers? Yeah. She then finally reads the stupid letter the lawyer handed her at the beginning of the film. And it's Marilyn Burns' cameo, and she's playing Edith Rose Sawyer. AKA, wasn't it Verna, though? I thought it was Verna. Oh, sorry, no. She's playing Verna, and she reveals Heather's real name is Edith Rose Sawyer. That's what it is. And then it ends with she approaches Leatherface, who like goes back to his little lair, and then like she grabs his food tray and then like walks away, implying she's now going to be his caretaker.
Yep. She's taking over for her mother. Yeah.
Where were they going with this? Yep. This is insane. So if they had made a sequel, if this movie had made a shit ton of money, right? Was their actual plan that we were now going to watch a movie where we just watched Leatherface and Alexandra Daddario just go around killing people?
Yeah, I have a note here.
What was the idea?
I said, was this all intended to build to a sequel? In that case, can I copyright the term Heatherface? Like if she's going to become the
Nice. That's pretty good.
Heatherface.
Yeah. Heatherface. Heatherface. That's pretty good. I like that. I got nothing else.
Just you pretty much hit it. Like a couple of my notes. I guess the sheriff is fine turning a blind eye to Heather and Leatherface because they murdered the mayor, who the sheriff didn't really like all that much.
Didn't really like him,
so I guess that adds
well,
up.
Hey, two wrongs make a right, Mark. Two wrongs make a right. That's how that works.
There's a lot of CGI in this movie that is very poor.
I didn't notice it.
Like the meat grinder.
Yeah, the meat grinder looked like shit.
Kind of bad.
Yeah.
I already referenced the fire at the beginning.
Why couldn't they just actually meat grind a person?
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem with that?
Get it done.
No, but in all honesty, why couldn't they just have the meat grinder and throw a fucking dummy in it?
Yeah.
Like, why is that so hard?
Like movies have been doing for decades before that.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's not as good as the meat grinder in Halloween Ends, that's for sure. Which was also CG, right. By the way. I think. I don't remember that being practical either.
Yeah, I got a note that basically says, like, I feel like the convoluted plot of this one is just really holding it back. I think they tried, the creative team tried to overthink this. Like, you don't have to make it this complicated. The whole idea of everyone, the whole missing baby, he's your cousin, big mystery there. No, you don't need that.
You hate it quite a bit because you had it at 8. You have it much further down than I do.
Yep.
So, like, I had this at 6. So I prefer, if I had to choose between this and Beginning ranked lower for me because Beginning is just this is pointless too.
Yeah.
But Beginning is just a little bit more pointless to me, where Beginning gives me absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's just,
but at least the plot of Beginning doesn't, it makes sense in the world that they've built.
Sure.
This one doesn't.
No,
right?
but
and it touches this, which, like, don't fucking do that.
No,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what it is. I kind of love the fact they had the balls to do it.
To just-
to just be like,
But-
nope, we're doing what we want.
We're throwing up this air ball, but no one's going to catch it.
We don't
Like,
give a
it's-
shit.
yeah.
And this film earns points for the fact that they had clearly zero plan on what they were going to do with Heather having the heel turn.
Yeah.
They just did it anyway.
We're going for it.
This literally never happens.
Yep.
This isn't, the films don't do this.
Well, and the funny thing
the
is-
protagonist doesn't just join the bad guy for just out of nowhere. That doesn't happen.
So I wonder what would have happened if she had read the letter when she was supposed to, because it all details in there. Hey, there's this goon in
There's
your
a
basement.
monster,
Your job now is to take
there's
care of
a-
him, and he eats people.
It's almost like a little convenient
yeah, that she didn't.
that she didn't read it earlier in the film. You know, yeah. Anything else you'd like to say?
Leatherface stitches the mask to his face through the inside of his
What
mouth.
was the point of that? I didn't
don't
get
know,
that.
to hold it on. I mean, because
It was a cool shot.
We see him in the past. Like usually, he just puts the mask on, but he would also have to like cut the top of the head off when he's putting on the. Normally, he just cuts the face, but then he puts it on and it doesn't really hold itself. So this kind of makes sense actually that he layers the mask on his face, but then would have to stitch it to his face to keep it on.
Yeah. It was a cool shot.
I never
yeah.
really sort of thought about that.
I think this is the tallest Leatherface in the whole. I think it's Dan Yeager is the guy that plays him. I think he's 6'6".
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest Leatherface in the whole
Yeah.
franchise. Or it's not. I
Or
don't
it's
care
not.
because
Yeah,
this movie
doesn't
sucks.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Another convenient carnival circus appears out of nowhere. We already talked about them. Like, where the hell are all these circuses coming from?
Yeah, trivia. In the background, you can actually see Justin
Yes,
Whalen in his Kent military uniform, and he's chasing after the little child Tyler from Part 3. You can actually see it in the background.
Tell you what, if that was actually there, I'd give this.
This would
movie
go up a rank?
number
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's it. Yeah, you touched on a lot of the points that I made. It's
just a fart. It's a fart, man. It's a fart. Yeah.